Hello and welcome to my Pagan Pathworks. My name is Lisa and I am the founder of the channel. If you're new here, we invite you to like and subscribe. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for joining us again today. I welcome everybody to the channel. And in today's Tarot Tuesday episode, we are going to talk about the Queen of Swords. So if you're interested, then keep watching. Thank you so much for staying with me. So before we start talking about our Queen of Swords, let's do just a little quick review. So the Suite of Swords is all about our intellect and our ability to communicate. And it's also about human conflict, both the conflict we have internally and the conflict that we have with other humans is a result of our ability or our lack of ability to communicate. So with the cards Ace through 10, it generally shows that progression through the human intellect. With the first 5 cards being our journey on the light side, where we're showing our progress and our growth. The cards 7 through 10 show the dark side of the soul and what happens when the mind is given too much leeway, so to speak. And with the 6 being that place of balance, when we have both our light side and our dark side in complete balance. The court cards, on the other hand, have it's a whole other thing going on for the court cards, and they usually represent people rather than situations. However, that's not always the case, so sometimes it's a matter of the energy of that particular card being present in any given situation. And so you have to be careful when saying it's only about people or it's only a female, when it could possibly be a male that we're talking about, even though the energy of the card is typically masculine or typically female. So let me show you my examples of the Queen of Swords. And this one is the Rider. This one is the Hanson Roberts. This one is the Tarot Draconis. And this one is the Celtic Tarot. So this card has meaning for me on a personal level, because the Queen of Swords is usually the one that I relate to myself more often than not. And part of the reason for this is that the Essential Book of Tarot that came with my Hanson Roberts deck describes this card, the Queen of Swords, as being someone who survives despite loss or perseveres despite loss and setbacks. And if you followed any of my videos at all, you know that I have experienced a lot of both. And so I could really relate to that perseverance despite all loss, that it was described the way that was the way I took it in the Hanson Roberts deck or in the little book. But there is a lot more to the Queen of Swords than just perseverance. And I found this out when I was doing a little bit deeper dive into my Tarot 101 book and just exploring out on the internet to see what other readers had to say. And basically, this card represents our freedom to think and to express ourselves and our ideas. It's our ability to inspire others to new ideas, thoughts, and understanding with our spoken word. So it's a very oratory card. It's giving clarity to our own thoughts and the thoughts of others, using our ability to communicate and to clear up any falsehoods or any lies. So it's more oral communication than it is written communication. Pardon me. As a person, this person is definitely, they're quick-witted, they're intelligent, and they approach the world with a very logical sense. Sometimes, because of that logic approach, they can be seen as very cool and unapproachable. But that's usually not really the case. It's more a sense that their logic is going to prevail, and they're kind of assessing the situation, but they're not really that as unapproachable as they first seem. This person would be honest to the fault, to the point where sometimes they just hurt your feelings without really intentionally being mean or cruel. The Queen of Swords is usually really excellent teachers, and they're really good in situations where communication is really important. On the flip side of that coin, on the dark side of the Queen of Swords, she's very bitter. She's very angry. She's the ultimate spin doctor that will spin propaganda to her own benefit. She's cruel, and she uses her communication skills to inflict as much pain as possible without regard for the consequences of what she's doing. She completely lacks compassion and warmth, and she's just that bitter pill that you really don't want to swallow. When this card represents a person and you're in a relationship with that particular person, it's going to be a double-edged sword. You're going to get extreme loyalty and someone that's really going to inspire you to be the best that you can be. But on the flip side of that coin, that brutal honesty is going to make for some very painful moments in your relationship. In the reverse, she's somebody, or that person is somebody that you desperately want to avoid. She will chew you up and spit you out, and without batting an eyelash, she just is that cold and calculating type of individual. When it's more situational, when you're talking about a situational, this when the card is in the upright, this queen calls upon us to clear our thoughts, communicate honestly to ourselves and to other people, to speak our own truth. We need to be nurturing our own ideas and help others to nurture theirs. If this queen is showing up in an odd place in your reading, it could be that what she's asking you to do is focus on your own personal development. And just pick up a book and enhance your mind the way only a book can do. She's calling on you to grow yourself as a person. In the reverse, when this card is in reverse, she's basically telling you to be quiet. Be quiet and silent and reserve judgment and step back from the situation. Because when you're getting this card in reverse, it generally means that you're making the situation worse rather than better, and what you really need is to clarify. Clarify your thoughts, clear your thoughts, just take a step back. So I can tell you that this queen is really one of of my favorite queens in the deck, because this queen is about the mind and growing the mind and fostering ideas and helping yourself grow on an intellectual level. She's not completely without emotion, but she approaches the world with a sense of logic. And for me, as someone who's been ruled by their emotions for most of their life, I really invite the energy of the Queen of Swords into my life right now, where I can deal with my own personal life with more of a logical approach rather than my emotional approach, because being ruled by my emotions, it didn't always work out the best. So I invite you to explore the energy of the Queen of Swords in depth for yourself. But until then, I hope this video has really helped you and just really got your interest in the Queen of Swords and the tarot as a whole. Anyway, I invite you back again next week, where we will explore the King of Swords, and he is the crown of the Suite of Swords. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Anyway, thank you so very much for watching, and I appreciate your time and attention today.